think we're recording now, William. So just to let everybody know, this is William Dunn, a very good friend of mine who I've known probably, well, how long have we known each other, William?
Since about 2010, 2009, so round about that period, about 13, maybe 14 years.
And we met when we were both in Britain.
That's right, in the UK, that's right.
And we're going to start a series of conversations that's hopefully going to go out on multiple platforms, but people will be able to interact with us to start with on MrGTV, which is my platform on Facebook, and also this will be duplicated on YouTube. But it's difficult to talk on YouTube, so people will come into the MrGTV Facebook platform and can talk to you. And I think eventually you're probably going to be doing this independently of me anyway. So I really appreciate your time. I think most people know my background. So what's your background, William? I mean, I know you as a mate, but what's your profession?
Well, my profession is I'm a registered nurse, and I'm a health psychologist, and I've studied developmental psychology. I've worked in general nursing, sort of looking after people's physical health problems, as well as recently looking after people's mental health problems in various psychiatric teams, both in inpatient and outpatient settings. And I've worked for the Departments of Pensions, assessing disability problems, sort of assessing people for
experience. That's a vast experience. So you've actually done, you've got bedside manner, you've done nursing on the wards.
Absolutely, and in the community.
And in the community.
And I've taught a bit at university as well, and taught MVQ learners. So I'm an MVQ assessor as well.
Interesting. And is that general nursing or psychiatric nursing?
It's both. I'm a registered general nurse and I'm a registered psychiatric nurse as well.
And I know more recently, before you actually retired, because we're both in that fortunate position of being retired but still working, you took managerial roles and supervisory roles.
I've been a manager both in NHS and the independent sectors. So I've sort of worked on both sort of the private sector and the public sector. So I've experience in both areas of care.
Now you're prepared to talk to me professionally and in a friendly way in a series of conversations that we're calling Wellness with William, because you're William Dunn. And most of these presentations will be on a Wednesday, so I like things that are all lined up. Wednesday, William, Wellness. But you are also going to be putting links as we progress. You'll be taking questions independently from people on the MrGTV platform who've subscribed, and also you'll be building your own platform and hopefully helping people in an advisory capacity by contacting you direct. And you're quite happy to do that, aren't you, in the future?
Absolutely, but I'm more than happy to do that and help people if I can.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. And as friends, I think we can tell people that at the moment we've just identified that I'm in Hua Hin, which is central Thailand, and you're up north. So where are you currently now filming from?
I'm in a place close to a place called Nong Malampu in North Thailand, not far from the border with Laos.
Right. And as we've both experienced, the healthcare system in Thailand is very different to the healthcare system in the UK. But we will have viewers from all over the world. So we won't just make it specific to UK experience. We'll sort of be more general. And if people do have specific issues health-wise, whether it's mental health, emotional health, physical health, you can always contact me and William. I do what I've always done, but now, you know, collaborating with William, we've got that expertise at a level that I only dream of, and he's helped me tremendously recently with some health challenges that I've had, and I'm happy to report I'm overcoming. So let's define wellness, William. How do you define wellness?
Well, wellness is your ability to perform or function at the most your optimal level. So it's how you function in life, whether you can look after yourself, dress yourself, whether you can cope with what life throws at you. It's being in a state of good health, spiritually, physically, and psychologically, as well as psychiatrically as well. So it's a state of mind, a state of body that is sufficiently well enough for you to carry out those things in life that you value and enjoy.
And those things are being challenged. We'll talk as we progress, but we won't get too deep today. I just wanted to introduce the concept because, you know, there's a lot going on in the world at the moment, and there's a lot of things that are making people sick to death, literally. You know, there's a lot of people in fear. We're going to talk about mental impact on health. We're going to talk about what's going on in the world without getting deleted. But I would imagine a lot of people that you saw had a lot of things going on in their life which impacted on their wellness.
That's very true. I mean, people experiencing stressful events and struggling with life stresses tend to have a problem with their immune system, because chronic stress can downregulate the immune system and leave you prone to physical health problems as well as the mental health problems that you're experiencing. So there's a multitude of problems that interact and sort of converge to cause these problems, and it's how you cope with life stresses. And I mean, I know you teach mindfulness and you teach people how to develop strategies, and that's some of the things as a psychiatric nurse and as a physical health nurse that I try to help patients to be able to develop strategies to be able to self-manage and to alleviate their own symptoms.
Absolutely. Yes, I understand that. I mean, I've always said that most of the stuff that people come to me with, as opposed to a GP, is lifestyle induced. You know, obviously, if you break an arm or you know, you have a virus or something like that, then you go and see a GP. But I think a lot of GPs would agree that a lot of people create their own illness, which is the opposite of wellness. Would you agree?
It is. As a health psychologist, I was looking at sort of how illness-related behaviours generated a state of ill health within them, sort of like diet and lack of exercise or inactivity and sort of avoidance of things that would help them get better. It's like someone with back pain who has problems sort of with activities because they're fearful that activities will cause their back pain, so that they avoid back pain, and then their body deconditions, they get less fit and their back pain worsens. So it's how people's mind affects their physical and mental health state. It's how their behaviour impacts on themselves.
It's almost like we need to re-educate ourselves, isn't it?
It is.
I think that's what I really want to do, to help people with your guidance, your professionalism, re-educate themselves. And it's quite simple, really, isn't it?
It is. It sounds more complicated than it is. And if you write it down, it looks like a lot of complicated things. But if you look at it, you actually do that all together. So it's not such a big, complicated issue, unless you make it so.
Yes, I mean, a lot of people do try to make it complicated, and they sell programs. I mean, everything on MrGTV is free, and you're offering your services for free, but it's quite simplistic. And I think you've experienced what I've experienced, that in Thailand and a lot of places where they have a population where these services aren't easily available, they take far more responsibility for them. The health themselves. You know, they don't just go to Boots the chemist or any other pharmacy and just get a pill. They'll probably eat something to make themselves well. And we can all do that, but we don't, do we?
No, that's true. And also, they're more community-based than we are now in the UK. So they have community support, they have family support from their families, and they have support from maybe the temple, so mindfulness locally from the monks. So they have a different mindset that really they take responsibility for their own issues, even though they might have support from the community in which they live in, which is important.
I know you've been embracing a lot of those practices, as I have, and it's definitely improved my health. What's your experience?
Well, it is. I mean, spiritual well-being can also impact positively on your physical and psychological well-being. So I have experience of seeking help from other people, but also using the power of my own mind to help myself. So I do have a lot of experience like yourselves.
I think you know, we go in on all sorts of tangents, but it's fascinating because I don't think you need to be necessarily Buddhist or Christian or Catholic or Jewish or Islamic or whatever you are. It's just having some belief, isn't it, that works for you.
It is. You could be a humanist and still use the same processes. It doesn't have to be an external force. It could be a spiritual force within yourself that you could utilize. Or
absolutely. I think it's a case of respecting yourself enough to give yourself that self-care and attention before you get ill, because I find that a lot of people they only go to the doctor when they're ill, and so therefore they're just treating symptoms, and there's not a lot of education, if you like, how to not get symptoms, and you know, there's not a lot of training in terms of wellness, how to be well, unless you go to a health club, and then again it can be quite commercial, can't it?
It can be. I mean, like, sort of prevention is better than a cure is a niche thing that we are taught in healthcare sectors. So, but it doesn't sort of feed out into the community properly. There's no health education that can help people sort of stop these problems from becoming a health problem later on. So prevention is better than a cure is good.
It's all right. So I've got dogs as well. Listen, this is live. It's like live TV. You can't control what goes on around you. It's all good fun. I mean, I have lizards sometimes in the background, and my dogs bark. And I've actually come over to the bungalow on my property today, because when I started to do the presentation with you half an hour ago, some builders on the land who were doing some drilling started drilling. So we can't control that, Williams. It's absolutely cool. It's no problem at all. I just wanted to do this introduction because I wanted people to see you and meet you and understand where you're coming from, and the fact that you are qualified to give this information. And what we're going to do when I post this, I'm going to ask people particularly what they want to hear us talk about. But we've got a bit of an idea. So we said, you've already mentioned a couple of things, which is mental health and stress and anxiety and fears and what's going on in the world.
Absolutely.
Diet.
Yeah, have a massive impact on your health and well-being. If you're eating a healthy diet, balanced diet, you will minimise the risk of becoming unwell.
And we're not talking about being a zero-size model, because neither you or I are. It's just a matter of being well in the body that you've got and moving towards a better body and a fit mind. Because also, I mean, dementia and Alzheimer's and you know, people get all sorts of degenerative conditions, don't they? You know, osteoporosis. People go through the menopause, men and women. And then, of course, there's the more serious stuff and some of the less serious stuff. But we're going to address it all, I hope. So what we'll do, I think, is we'll make a list between us, and we'll also ask people to give us suggestions. And then every week with William, on a Wednesday probably, we'll give a wellness presentation. Are there any sort of takeaways from today's that you can give people, like, you know, a snippet of wisdom for helping people shift today? What can people do today before we actually start properly, you know, a giveaway for wellness, William?
Yeah, I think one of the first things that people need to realise is that they shouldn't catastrophize or imagine the worst possible outcomes or catastrophize about their state of health. It's never as bad as you actually think it is. Things can and will be better. So it's try and think positively. Imagine that you can and will get better, or you can improve your situation. Absolutely. Don't always imagine.
That's absolutely brilliant. That's a great piece of advice. Well, we'll leave it there. We're going to be presenting more 30-minute presentations, Wellness with William, Mr. William Dunn. And I appreciate your time and respect you offering your services, William. And as I say, you are actually a member of the MrGTV platform, and you're on Facebook yourself independently. What name are you on? Are you William Dunn on Facebook?
I'm William Russell Dunn on Facebook.
Right, so that would be. Do you want to spell that for us for people?
It's William, so it's William.
Yes.
RUSSELL.
Yes.
DUNN.
Fantastic. So you can get hold of William independent of this. But I hope you all enjoy this. Like and subscribe to the channel. Keep checking back for more for free from me, Mike G, on MrGTV and Wellness with William. We'll say goodbye to everybody, and we'll catch you on the next presentation. Take care.
Cheers and swaddy crap.
Swaddy crap. Swaddy crap.